Okay, so hi, this topic has been talked about multiple times before this already, and I know that, but I still wanted to make a video talking about this, and it's the Supreme Court decision of the Hobby Lobby case, which I know a lot of people are upset about, and I know that a lot of Christians and religious people are very, very happy about, and I wanted to make a video on something that actually this decision sparked, and it sparked something called the Freedom from Religion Foundation to post an advertisement in the New York Times Magazine criticizing the, I quote, all male and all Catholic majority of the Supreme Court, and saying that how their religion, and even them being all male for the majority, influences their decisions, because everyone has an opportunity. Everyone has an opinion on what is right and what is wrong. Everyone has an opinion on what's good, bad, moral, immoral, and that's including religion. That's obviously going to affect the decisions that they make, and even them being male skews their decision, because by them being male, they might not realize some of the problems that women face, especially when it comes to something like using contraceptives or birth control, etc., etc., etc. Now, anyways, what happened when this Freedom from Religion Foundation posted the article? Fox News immediately tried to play the victim, saying that this organization is completely biased against Catholics or Christians. I always say Catholics, I do apologize for that. Trying to say it's biased against Christians and that they're like bad people for saying all that, when in reality they're only criticizing something that's already there. The problem in America is that if an unpopular group, or if a very small group tries to tries to criticize the majority, or tries to take a stance for what that group believes is right, then everyone goes into a panic and is like, oh my god, they're taking over the country! And that's what Fox News is trying to do, saying atheists are taking over the country, and a lot of other Christians are trying to argue that point. Well, let me tell you something. In the 1970s, there's this huge technological boom, and every 5 years following the 1970s, technology has doubled since the technology, which was before then. Pretty big, right? Like, that's a pretty big thing, right? All of these new ideas and these new inventions and all this progress in science has caused people to question religion and eventually turn away from religion. Between 1970 and 2014, it's a 44-year time period. You know how many people are openly non-religious or open atheists or anything along those lines? 3 to 5%. Pretty big number, right? 3%, maybe 4%, highest possibility 5%. Not like 30 to 50, 3 to 5, and a majority of the population is Christian. And for a while, I don't think there's ever been a majority is holding power that's been like atheists or non-religious at all. Like in the Supreme Court today, not the Supreme Court, I'm sorry, in Congress today, only 5% of the people there are openly non-religious, and there's only one open atheist in that entire group. To say that atheists are trying to take over the country, and especially saying that just to defend your case, that they're just to try to defend what their criticism, is completely stupid to say. Did you know that 53% of Americans think that atheists are immoral people only because they're atheists? I made a video explaining why this is wrong. It's called 5 Common Misconceptions About Atheists. You can go and watch that. But basically, in one point, I explain why this is completely stupid, and I say that morals are based upon what a society thinks is wrong. Not just one religion or one political view, but what a society deems as okay and what society deems as not okay. I go into more depth into that into the video. I'm not going to do that here. I don't want to reiterate myself. This video is going to be long as it is. But 43%, and I'm not sure if this is 43% in general or 43% of the 47% that think atheism is like okay or whatever, or moral or whatever. 43% of Americans say that they will not vote for an open atheist who is running for office. And to top it off, there are 8 states in their like state laws that say open atheists cannot hold a public office. In 1967, the Supreme Court ruled this as unconstitutional, and it is unconstitutional. The Constitution flat out says there is no religion. There will be freedom of religion. No one's going to try to force a religion force a religion onto another person, no one's going to try to take that religion away. But you know what? Even though this is ruled as unconstitutional, that is still in their law books. If the Supreme Court goes in favor with someone, they're just going to be like, oh, yes. But if it goes against someone, then they're just going to be like, well, I'm going to still keep this here, but we just might not follow it. But it's still going to be in here, just to make it, like, sort of official. It is completely ridiculous. All of these people are starting to be afraid that people are opposing their religion, and that's why they start all of these rumors about particularly about atheists, because I'm on talking about things from a religious standpoint. All these Christians and all these, even, like, Islam and all these other religions, all are, like, in our country starting to attack atheists because they think that they're these immoral people and that they have, like, they believe in nothing, and they're these horrible people that are gonna, like, turn everything into chaos and destroy everything. When in reality, atheism is a singular lack of belief. It is the lack of belief in a higher power or God or multiple gods. They just don't believe that there is a higher power. Cult of Clusterfuck did a great job explaining this, saying that atheists can have political views, atheists can have biases, like, they can be a feminist, they can be part of the gay rights movement, they can be men's rights activists. It's just, those are all beliefs, those are all political beliefs. Atheism just means not having religion. It's just a lack of religion, and that terrifies some people. Because a lot of times these Christians, they're brought up taught a certain way. They're taught up to believe a certain way. They're taught up to think. And if someone questions that, their, like, center, if someone questions their core of living, if that's the best way to put it, then they just freak out, and it's like, whoa, you weren't brought up the way that I was, so then you must be wrong. And these are the completely closed-minded people. Like fucking Sarah Palin going off and saying, well, the American Constitution was obviously written based off of the Ten Commandments in the Bible. No, it wasn't, because literally the Constitution says America should not have an official religion. Do you want to know why? Because a lot of the time, all of these people, not a lot of the time, I'm sorry, the founding fathers weren't even Christian. A majority of them were deists or Protestant, not Catholic. I believe that Protestant falls under Christianity, but like I said, most of them were deists, and they couldn't decide on an official religion because all of them had a different religion of themselves. And I don't see what the problem of not having a religion is. In my opinion, I think that's more of a moral thing I think it's more moral to be an atheist than it is to not be religious. Because if you're religious, you end up having all these assumptions, and a lot of it includes hate. Like, have you seen how much hate that the Christian community spreads? All this bigotry, especially this hypocrisy between the Bible and what their supposed God actually says. It's like, love everyone, do this, and be great people, but if you're gay, you're gonna go to hell. Oh, you're transgender, oh, you're going to go to hell. Oh, this, you're all gonna go to hell, and you're gonna burn, and you need to repent, but we love you. And I think it's completely ridiculous, and I think that is such an immoral thing to believe in. And whereas you're an atheist, you don't have any of that to worry about. You don't have to worry, will this make my God happy? You don't have to think, oh, this is hurting other people, because in American society, a majority of people nowadays, I believe, a majority of people are actually putting a step forward, and they're like, gay is okay. So that's just one example of why I think you being a Christian, I keep saying Catholic, I am very sorry for that, you being like a Christian, or you just being religious, it just influences you in a way that it influences you in a way that affects your decision making. And saying stuff like that is one example. I'm sorry I keep stuttering. My brain's kind of going in multiple directions right now. It influences you. The Hobby Lobby case is one example. Like I said earlier in this video, everyone has their opinion of what is right and what is wrong, and everyone's going to try to change people and dictate over people based on their opinions. And I think it needs open-minded people to be able to actually run things. And I think atheists are some of the most open-minded people, mostly because they focus on society. I think a lot of atheists fall under the humanist category. Humanism is not what most people make it out to be. It's not like, oh, human rights, only that is a great idea. Human rights is a wonderful idea, but humanism is basically saying that humans and human life should be placed over religion. I think a lot of atheists fall into that category. And I completely agree with that. It's like, I'm kind of reiterating myself, and I apologize. I think atheists are just more moral because they focus on the here and now, and they focus on society rather than the afterlife and the past of old books and what's written in those old books. And I think, going back to the whole, like, people think wrong, right, etc., 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 we agree with people when we think they're right. We disagree with people when we think they're wrong. Same thing goes for the government. A majority of America agreed with what Obama said. That's why they voted for him. Some people did not agree with Obama, and they voted against him. Now, based on now those people are going to dictate with what they believe is wrong and right. So if you're someone that believes that there should be higher gun regulations, then they're going to dictate and put out higher gun regulations. If you're someone that thinks more people should have guns, then you're going to make a law that says more people can have guns. And that's the thing. You put more people who are Christian, you give more people who are Christian power, then they're going to rule with their faith in mind. And this is a perfect example. This is with the Supreme Court, not with the actual, like, executive? I believe it's the executive branch. This isn't really like with the whole lawmaking thing, but still, it's a part of the branches of government. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit rusty on that. It's summer, don't judge me, I'm 16. Okay, you can judge me, go ahead. But, this is just an example, and I think that spreading rumors saying that atheists are all these horrible things, especially when looking at your religion and seeing how many wars it started, how much hatred and how much bigotry it started, and saying that atheists are like the worst kind of people and trying to make them the bad guys while in reality they're just criticizing a problem that's already there. I think it's just completely outrageous. I think you need to reevaluate yourself. I think you need to look at the actual problem, and I think you need to realize your opinion isn't the only opinion out there. You need to be open-minded and willing to change. You need to be able to look at the facts and say, wow, maybe they're right, maybe I'm wrong. Or if you still believe that you're right after all the facts and after you've actually thought about it, then I guess that's just you. Then I guess you just think that it's right. I just think more people need to be open-minded. And I think that a lot of religious people are just so closed-minded because it tells you what to think. It doesn't really tell you how to think, but it tells you what to think. And in a way, it kind of tells you how to think, that you need to think in a certain way. You need to think in this certain way, and you need to stay into this box. And if you go out of this box, then you're just going to go to hell. And that's the problem that most people have. And if you keep giving religious people power, they're going to keep dictating with that power. This has kind of gone off on a tangent, and I realized that I went like and crazy like in the past 5 minutes, and I apologize about that. But I hope this made some sense, and in saying that America is not really secular, that this is a terrible decision, that Fox News is just being a bunch of idiots, and that people need to be a lot more open-minded, especially to the idea of atheism. It's just a lack of faith, not believing in a God. Morals, like I said before, come from society, because morals are based on what a group of people decides is wrong and what is right. And most people just do not understand that. Most religious people, do not understand that. And so, yeah, I repeated myself a lot, but that's okay. That's alright. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, go watch them. Subscribe. If you didn't like this video, leave a comment telling me why you didn't like it. Give a thumbs down. Don't subscribe. And yeah, peace.